Welcome to our guide on how to avoid damage in World vs. World. We all know that taking damage cannot be totally avoided, and that's why we ideally have a healer in every party. But even a heal scrapper has a limited amount of skills available for healing, and keeping yourself alive is as much your own job as it is the support's job. Also, keep in mind that even if your supports are able to heal the damage you are taking, they might have to blow some skills for it that would have been needed later in a fight. So avoiding damage should be among your priorities. How do we avoid damage? Everyone knows standing in big red fields is bad. But what if there are red fields all around and the only thing you can do is choose in which to stand? And is it worth spending a dodge to get away, or do you just run through? We focus on fields that commonly occur in World vs. World settings. We distinguish between different kinds of fields: those that deal high damage and should be avoided, and those that do not cause damage by themselves, but restrict your movement or cause other disadvantages when additional damage is incoming. We begin with high damage fields. Some of these come from Siege, others from certain classes. The first field we want to talk about is the Burning Oil. It deals damage, causes burning, and drains your supply. That's 3 good reasons not to stand in it. You may be able to see the oil pouring, and the field it creates is very visible. It is bright orange and has a lava or fire-like texture. Here's what happens if you stand in it. That's more than half my health and 6 subs gone without any other pressure except the oil. Next is the Mortar Burn Shot. It pulses burning in the target area. You may see the projectile incoming, looking like a comet. The field it creates has a bright orange circle at the edge and another bright orange spot in the middle. Here's what it looks like when someone with full mastery is shooting at you and you just stand in it without any healing. As you can see, it hurts a lot. Note that this is just a single shot. It can be fired every 3 seconds, and the burning from all shots will stack. If anyone cares to do the maths, you should get up to 63 stacks of burning from a single mortar if it's used on cooldown. The cow trap shot pulses poison and drains supply. You can see the cow flying. The resulting field has a red circle and green fog rising from the ground. If I stand in it, it doesn't do much damage, but I lose 13 subs, and the poison reduces healing effectiveness, so if I got spiked by something else at the same time, any support would have a hard time healing me. The Dragon Banner deals damage and causes burning. It is visible as a road of rectangular orange fields. I couldn't quite bring myself to stand in one, but I'm sure you've all seen people die in them before. Coming to class skills, we first have a look at an Ellie spike with a meteor shower and lava font. Both cause damage over time. The meteor shower is mostly visible by the meteors dropping on the target area. The animation of a lava font fits its name. Standing in both easily gets me downed. You can easily avoid the damage by simply walking out. Dragon Hunter traps also cause a significant amount of damage. The Test of Faith trap causes little damage on trigger, but then causes a lot of damage to anyone crossing its threshold. You can see it as a circle of blades. If you just stand in the middle of them, nothing much happens. If you cross the threshold again and again without dodging, you get a lot of damage. The Procession of Blades is another Dragon Hunter trap causing a lot of damage. If I just stand in the spinning blade, more than half my health is gone quickly. It is easy to dodge through. Most commonly, dragon hunters will place both traps in the same spot. To avoid both, you will need to dodge over the edge of the Test of Faith trap. We now come to fields that often occur en masse in big spikes. Your priority should be to stay out of the fields mentioned before, rather than avoiding a single field of the ones we will talk about now. First are the skills of a Scourge Spike. The Desert Shroud, which is the Shade F5 skill, pulses Torment, but only hits 2 targets. The Shade itself has a red pillar in the middle. When it pulses, Desert Shroud was activated. If you are one of the 2 unlucky ones who actually get hit by it, staying completely stationary is a bad idea, as the Torment will then tick higher. So move out of it if necessary, and move a bit until the Torment has run out or was cleansed. The Well of Corruption and Well of Suffering are usually used in combination to strip boons, apply vulnerability, and cause damage. They look very similar to each other. Both have a red circle with a dark spot in the middle. Ghastly Breach, or just Breach, deals damage and converts boons into Torment and Cripple. It has bright yellow pulsing spots, but you rarely actually see them since they are mostly used in a melee clash when there are tons of fields on the ground. The Trail of Anguish, or TA, inflicts burning and converts boons to Torment and Cripple. If a Scourge is running away from you or towards you, you may see a trail of small red circles behind him. If there's no other damage around, try to not run through it all the way. A Rev range spike contains a Coalescence of Ruin, also known as Coal, and a Phase Smash, or just Phase. You can see Revs jumping towards you and a crack in the ground moving towards you. If you want to avoid it, you need to be quick. Now we get to movement restricting fields. While they pose little danger in themselves, they can be used to separate you from the group and render you unable to use your skills. First up is the Mesmergraph Well. It does almost no damage by itself, but it has 3 CCs. It will knock you down, float you, and pull you. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you. Effectively, this makes you completely useless for 3 seconds. If you have stability, you can simply move out of it, otherwise you will need a stun break first. It has a very distinct sound, so even if you can't see it because there are too many other fields on the ground, you should be able to hear it. The alley static field stuns you when you run through it, with the additional perk that it is unblockable, so Heaven Aegis won't help you here. It looks like a field of lightning on the ground. If you stand in it, nothing happens. Only when you try to move through it, it stuns you. With stability, you can just walk through. However, remember that your firebrand also has a limited amount of step skills, so don't waste it unnecessarily. You shouldn't walk across a static field again and again if you don't have to. We have two more guardian skills in this category. The first is Hunter's Ward, better known as baby chains or daisy chains. It literally looks like a fence of chains, and it will knock you back every time you try to cross it. So if you don't have step, don't even try. That way you can at least still cast your skills. If you do have step, simply walk out of it. The line of warding, aka Guardian Staff line, works the same way. It shows as a blue line with red edges. With stability, you can again simply walk through, and you can always walk around them. Another way to separate you from your group is an immob spike by a soul beast. While it can be cleansed, muddy terrain, Signet of the Wild, and Entangle all pulse immob, and you will therefore need to get cleansed more than once. Unfortunately, there's not much you can do once you're stuck in this if you don't have a Condi cleanse available. If you can cleanse it, get out of there fast. Also note that the stun break doesn't help against immob. If you do get stuck behind, no matter why, remember to call it immediately. That way, the squad can react in time to save you. Ideally, you also call what got you stuck, so your supports know what to do about it. There's no point in stun breaking you if you're immobbed. Another field that is mostly harmless by itself is the Winds of Disenchantment, better known as Warrior Bubble. Although it has been nerfed, it still steals your boons and reduces the duration of newly received boons. Enemy bubbles show up as dark brown spheres. If you stand in it for a time, you won't have stability, so you can easily be pulled. You won't have ages, so you won't block incoming attacks. You won't have resolution, resistance, or protection to reduce incoming damage, and so on. That is obviously bad when a lot of CC and damage is coming in. Thanks all for watching, and let's work on reducing that incoming damage.